The next question, member for Ottawa West Recipients.
Thank you, Speaker. By the government's own admission, the change to the employment clawback for ODSP helps only the 6.5% of ODSP recipients who are working and does nothing for the vast majority of people on ODSP who are unable to work, which is why they are on ODSP in the first place. The other 356,700 recipients are left on their own to try to make ends meet on a benefit that is lower than the average cost of rent across the province. Why is the Premier continuing to legislate poverty for hundreds of thousands of Ontarians instead of doubling social assistance rates?
Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for the question. Our government has consistently been committed to adapting to the realities that vulnerable people are facing with issues such as high inflation. We are looking at making sure that they have the supports they need, and that's why we've given the ODSP rates the increase of decades. Never been done before by previous governments. The 5% is a historic increase. We've tied it to inflation. We've aligned it with inflation, understanding that inflation increases create a real hardship for people. And we've made the earnings exemption. We've quintupled, 400% increase to that earnings exemption, lifting people up, making sure that they're getting connected to the workforce as needed. And those who can't work, we're supporting them. But we know to have meaningful work to create an environment in their communities, in their families, working with the Ministry of Labour, and also working with the Minister of Health, working with the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions to understand all the other supports we put in there.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
More than 350,000 people with disabilities living in poverty is not really a record to brag about, Speaker. Nope. This government has also left people in Ontario Works living in deep poverty with no help. In fact, this government has left these Ontarians triply behind. No rate increase, no indexation, no change to the employment threshold, despite the fact that it has remained unchanged for 9 years. $733 a month doesn't even go halfway to paying the rent, let alone food and other essentials. How does the Premier expect people to get off of Ontario Works when his policies are driving people into crushing levels of poverty and ill health?
And again, Minister of Children, Community and Social Services to respond.
Thank you, Speaker. You know, the Liberals had the chance to raise rates, and they waited until before an election. The NDP had a chance to make it a priority when they propped up the Liberals for 3 years. And while they talked, it was our government that acted. We're the only ones who said yes to supporting individuals on social assistance. We're indexing the rates to inflation. We said yes. The opposition said no. We're increasing the earnings exemption. We said yes to that. The opposition said no. Today's the ODSP policy and the announcement of the fall economic statement is a game changer. That's what our colleagues in the community said. That was Mark Wafer. The advocacy of many over the past few years has resulted in an exciting new future for Ontarians with disabilities who will now have more money in their pocket while contributing to themselves, their families, and the economy at large. We will continue to do this important work because we know how important it is for people who can work and those who cannot.